everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to review Netflix's Cowboy BeBop. This is the live-action adaptation of the classic, the iconic, one of the greatest anime ever created, Cowboy BeBop. Now, Cowboy BeBop, I've said it before, it's one of my it's not just one of my favorite animes of all time. It is my favorite anime of all time. But it's not just my favorite anime of all time. It's not just one of my favorite, pieces of Japanese anything. It's not only one of my favorite animated pieces of all time. It's one of my favorite pieces of fiction ever. Like, I love that anime. I love that world. I love all the characters in it. I love the way it works. It's one of my favorite interpretations of the future, because so many times when you see something go into the future or you see an interpretation of the future, they kind of go way out there. Even if you look at something such as Back to the Future and see their interpretation of what the future would be like, they always go far out there. They always make it like this big spectacle and everything's so clean and squeaky, and it depends. Sometimes you get something like Cyberpunk or Blade Runner or something like that, where they show a more grittier version of the future. But and they do, but it's also, since they do that, but I've never seen such. But usually it's so stylized. Even when they do like the cyberpunk stuff, it's so stylized. This is an interpretation of the future that I always imagined how it would be. Like, in my primitive mind, not being able to really fathom what the future would look like, in my mind it would look like this, which is we use this super advanced technology to make shit look like here. Like, every planet they go to, when you go to Mars, when you go to, no matter where you are, on the actual surface, the actual cities, the actual locations, they just look like places like this. The police stations look like places like this. Everyone still drives cars and uses gasoline. Everyone still, it's certain aspects of now that is still, it still works the same way. And I've always kind of in my mind, like I said, I've always loved that grounded approach to the future, that it's like, no matter how far we go, say we would build it the way we know how to build. We would build things the way we know how to build things. It would look a lot like now. It would basically be like I'm living right here in my house. The house would look the exact same, except I'm on Mars underneath a giant dome bubble. And I always love that aspect of the world, that as futuristic as certain aspects of it as the show, as the anime is, it has this groundedness to it, that the world doesn't look so insane, and that they could do so many different things because the worlds don't look that insane. And I always love that about it. So it's one of my favorite interpretations of the future that I had ever seen. Spike is one of my favorite anime characters of all time. The dude is just awesome. Spike Spiegel, he is just so amazing. He is so cool. Of course, you got Faye, you got Jet, you got, Ed, but you don't really see Ed in this in the next Netflix version. But anyways, they have been trying to make a live-action adaptation of this for quite some time. Going way back since this came out, because this is such a popular show and so many people are such massive fans of it, and it balances so many genres, and that's why it was I always figured this would be an easy show to adapt. Well, not easy, but I feel like it'd be a more simpler show to adapt, because while there are some over-the-top things and special things in it, to the most part, these are just people, and they're balancing so many genres. There's a noir feel, there's obviously a western feel, sometimes the jazz music, and there's a lot of different genres, a lot of different vibes being mixed in this beautiful, pot. It's like a fruit basket. There's just so many different fruits in this fucking thing of an anime, and I was excited when I heard that they were going to make a live-action adaptation. Was a little less excited when I heard that Netflix was going to do it. Personally, I liked The Witcher. I did. I enjoyed The Witcher. I gave it a 7. I gave it a 7 out of 10. But, it didn't blow me away. For me personally, Netflix's adaptations of things have been okay. Now, I will admit, that League of Legends thing they're doing now, I don't know a lot about it, so maybe that's why I'm getting more out of it, but that is pretty freaking great. As adaptations go, that's freaking amazing. But, a lot of times, the ones that I'm thinking about, I didn't think The Witcher was, a 10 out of 10. And I hate it. We don't even gotta go into Death Note. Do anyone remember that shit? The Death Note adaptation they made? That apparently has got a sequel coming for some reason. I digress. Personally, I have not been blown away by Netflix's live action adaptations of video games, books, and animes. I haven't been like blown over. So when I heard Netflix was doing this, I was a bit apprehensive because I'm like, I don't know. This is a big Star Wars, Star Trek world that needs a movie budget. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this needs a huge budget. This thing needs to have the same amount of money put into it as The Mandalorian to work. Like, personally, I'm just saying, Cowboy BeBop needs the same amount of money, if not a little bit more, put into it as The Mandalorian. So, and I just didn't see Netflix doing that. Netflix really doesn't do that unless they're dealing with movie stars. Cause like hell, the only reason that show that the movie I watched the other day, Red Notice, the only reason that movie cost $200 million plus is because 60 million of it was because like 60 million of it was going to the goddamn 3 leads. So like you tack on 60 million, but no one in this is that big of a deal. Some of these actors are no names. The biggest actor in this entire show is damn it, I always forget his name. Something Cho. He was in Star Trek. He was in Harold and Kumar. See him in so many things. He was in fucking American Pie. He's done a lot of things. Is it John Cho? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But I've seen him in a ton of things, and I've liked him in a ton of things. And he's the biggest actor in this, which sometimes is kind of a hindrance, because I'm just like, man, I wish you guys could have got some bigger time actors, because I don't know any of these people. But let me get into the actual show itself. I watched the entire thing, and I've got to tell you guys, I am very mixed. It's a mixed bag for me. On one hand, I am someone who's been quoted on saying that as long as the lead characters work, I can kind of drug along. Like so many people don't like Iron Man 2, but I've always argued that Robert Downey Jr. is still awesome in Iron Man 2. So I can watch Iron Man 2 for him. He's the lead. He's in 99%. He's in 95% of the movie. I can watch Iron Man 2 for Robert Downey Jr. and still have a good time. And all 3 of the characters in this, the actress playing Faye, the actor playing Jet, and the actor and Cho playing Spike, they all work. Like, at least they work for the most part. Faye, I can see annoying some people, but Spike and Jet, they work. In fact, sometimes the actor playing Jet is doing a perfect job. He is doing such a perfect job playing Jet. I mean, that dude nailed Jet. He is doing an amazing job playing Jet. Like, I believe him as Jet. The way his voice goes as Jet, I'm like, yep, this guy's done. He's nailed it. Or Cho, he's playing Spike, and he does capture aspects of Spike. But sometimes it's kind of different, though. It's just different, you know? Because sometimes, like, you know, he's a bit more different than Spike. Because Spike always had the effortless coolness, while Cho kind of plays him like he's being cool. And I don't know if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't make any sense to people, but Spike always felt like he was just cool. Whereas this version of Spike, this actor playing Spike, Joe, he's trying to be cool. And he is cool, but you can see him trying. He's cool, but for me at least, I can see him trying. Which doesn't mind. He's still great. He's still great as Spike. I just enjoy him as Spike. I enjoy his interactions. I enjoy when those 3 are together, it's at its best. When their interactions and back and forth and they're bickering and whatnot, it's at its best. It has some really fun action set pieces, and the CGI actually isn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It's not like top notch. Like I said, I wish the thing had like a more Mandalorian level budget to really make it look good. It doesn't have that, but it still looks good. The action for the most part is pretty freaking good too. The action for the most part is pretty good. They capture a lot of aspects. Sometimes they're shot for shot, and sometimes the shot for shot works. Sometimes there are straight up songs and scenes just directly shot for shot, and it looks good. Which leads me to the other side of the tracks. There's a battle going on between the things they did change and the things they left shot for shot. Sometimes the shot for shot stuff looks like cosplay. And honestly, I could not help myself. Even though I got over it and got kind of used to seeing John Cho, or I don't know if I'm saying his name right. I think it's Cho, something like that. But either way, the actor playing Spike, even though I got used to seeing him in the outfit, it looks so much like they just ripped it off the page. But not in a good way. It kind of, sometimes when I looked at him, depending on the lighting and whatnot, it looked like cosplay. Because it just looked fake and just looked like no one would ever wear this. And I was like, and in my mind, I'm like, when you adapt something, you have to make it feel as if someone would actually wear this. And I'm looking at Spike and I'm just like, I can't imagine someone actually wearing what you're wearing the way you're wearing it. And sometimes I wouldn't care. I'm just like, whatever. It's from the anime, so it's cool. And then other times I'd be like, man, it just looks like cosplay. And that happens a couple times for me throughout the course of the show, where they do a shot for shot. I'm like, that kind of looks like cosplay. It kind of looks like people cosplaying as this, and I would know it because I know it. You know what I mean? There are so many aspects that they change. Sometimes it's for the... I don't think anything they really changed was for the better. Like, if that makes any sense. Like, things that they changed, it wasn't like it was like, oh, oh, sorry. I thought someone was walking in the house. It wasn't like they changed it and it made something that didn't work in the anime better. It was just different, and it really didn't have to be. There are certain aspects. I'll spoil a minor thing for you. They try to add more context to Vicious. And they cast him as this British actor, and this dude's got the crazy eyes and but it just, like, Vicious to me, Vicious in the anime to me was mysterious, was menacing. And you never quite knew what was going on with him. You knew where he had ambitions and ideas and plans, but you were never quite 1,000% sure what was going on with the dude. And he always seemed like he was in control. He always seemed like he had a plan. Like, it was like, up until he dies, my spoiler, at the end of the anime, you never think he's gonna die, because he just seems like he's always got a plan. He's got it planned out. And Vicious kinda is what Spike could have been. It's like a reverse version of Spike. And I was always, and like, Vicious to me, he isn't the greatest villain of all time in anime to me. I know some people think he is. I don't know if he is or isn't. I don't think he is personally to me. But what he is intimidating as hell, intelligent, and you just never know what he's gonna do. Not only did they not have his bird in this, which I was like, oh, where's the bird? You guys gonna have an approximate. I mean, like, he's already eccentric, but they cast him as this British actor, which isn't that big of a deal. But this version of Vicious is kind of a whiny bitch. He's a homicidal whiny bitch. He's a crazy, dangerous. He is dangerous. I'm not gonna take it from him. He is a dangerous dude. But he's kind of a whiny bitch. He's this, self-absorbed, jealous. He's got, let me put it this way. This version of Vicious has small dick energy. I'm gonna just put it, this version of him has small dick energy. He is just, like, you've seen the kind of character he is in, like, a Game of Thrones or something. You know what I'm talking about. He's just that kind of a character. I have responsibility, I'm crazy because I got responsibilities, and they do this whole thing with his father, I know, it's crazy. They do a whole thing with his father. They change so much. They change a lot about Julia in particular. Like, they change a ton about her. They changed things about her that was just like, okay. There's a lot they changed. There's a couple, like, there's a couple things. There's something they changed about Jet that does work, kinda, but then near the end it's just like, okay. But like I said, some of the things they changed didn't need to be changed. They tried to add context to stuff, it just made it stupider. You know what I mean? Like, certain things like that just happen. I don't want to get into spoilers. Maybe I'll wait until Seth, because Seth loves this too. I really want to wait till he sees it. I really want him to see the show so I can get his opinion on it, because me and him both love the original Cowboy BeBop, and I'm just kind of sitting here like, huh. And the ending, oh man, look, I'm not sure how people who love Cowboy BeBop will take that last ending, because it's so different. It is so different than the anime. And it's like, oh man, like, on one hand, you're making a certain character who I personally didn't think was that interesting in the original. A tad bit, you're trying to give her something, but I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. There's a ton of things that are different. Sometimes it doesn't matter, and other times, I will say this, I don't think a single one of the differences they did made it any better than the original. So, like, it was just different. It was different for the sake of being different. They changed it for the sake of changing it. Like I said, other than the Jet thing, there's a specific thing with Jet and the relationship he has that he did not have in the anime that he has that works with him because of his character. It works with him, you know. But man, I don't know. There's certain other things that I'm just like, ugh. I would probably end up giving Cowboy BeBop season 1. I did have some enjoyment throughout. I did. So maybe I'll settle on a 7. I'll settle on a 7, just to be kind. Just to be kind, because it was a great attempt. Because regardless of how I feel about the anime and the live action adaptation and how much I feel like there are certain aspects about it that did miss the mark, I still had fun watching it as a fan. As a fan of the anime, I still had fun watching it. I still enjoyed the core crew together, working together. It was entertaining to watch them. Some of the action set pieces were fun to see, even though you see the limitation of their budgets multiple times throughout the course of the show. Multiple times throughout the course of the show, you see the clear limitation of the budget that they have to make this show. But overall, I still had a good time. If you're a Cowboy BeBop fan, I can't tell you what side of the lens you're going to land on. I landed on, I still had a good time, and I'm just happy this was a good attempt. You know what I mean? Maybe they'll do it again years from now. 10, 15 years from now. They'll probably wait a while to do it again, and they'll do it perfectly. But for now, I'm willing to accept this. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Cowboy BeBop Show. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.